Hello, this is BBL Lab, the All British Basketball Podcast, and today I'm with Josh Steele from the British Guard. So, how are you today?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
Okay. So, first off, where did basketball start for you?
Where I grew up, team called Harlow Hawks. So from my hometown in Harlow, just kind of wanted to do something different. Like super sporty kid, did track. Like my dad ran track, boxing, just all sports really. But I hadn't really found one that I really loved. Ended up choosing basketball. Went along one day, and still playing.
Okay, so I saw you were playing is it Barking Abbey at the age of I think 14 in D1. What was that experience like? At such a young age?
Yeah, it was cool, man. Like, just going Barking Abbey in general was like one of my best basketball experiences. Just overall, just those 5 years were great. But playing D1 at a young age was tough. Like, forced me to kind of like mature my game maybe a lot quicker than you like, and just not relying on just being taller and stronger and faster than everyone. I had to learn other parts of the game really. So yeah, it was definitely challenging, but loved it. I was with a coach at the time who pushed me. He didn't really like take it easy on me. Like I had to own myself, kind of thing. So it was just good for me mentally as well.
Yeah. Okay, so you led the team in to the D1 title and then in the under-19 champ game you hit I think you were down something like 7 points or whatever with a couple of minutes ago, and then you hit a couple of crucial shots. How good did it feel to take the team to the title?
Oh, it was awesome. Just because as good as Barking Abbey was or is still, they had the time. They hadn't really won anything, any of the school stuff. I remember going the last year before it was the ABL and coming up short, finishing third. So it was awesome to be able to kind of just like finally win with them. Finally, I think we deserve to for sure.
Okay. I noticed in I think it was 2012, 2013 Jordan Classic. I noticed you were on a team with Jamal Murray, who's now in the NBA. When playing with him, did he show any kind of NBA pedigree or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jamal was actually my roommate. It's a shame we haven't kept in better touch. But like from time to time, like I'll hit him up, tell him good game, and we'll just but not really have any kind of contact. But he was a cool guy, and for sure, everyone at that camp really had some sort of NBA potential. I mean, like I think pretty much everyone there is either in the NBA or EuroLeague or some sort of playing high level somewhere. So yeah, everyone did. And Jamal did. Like he was a co-MVP in the game. He completely balled out in the actual game, and just during the practice. And the practices were kind of light, so it's just everyone's figuring each other out. But no, for sure, he was a killer from day.
Okay, in 2017 and 18, you made the step up, to the BBL from D1. How important was that step up for you, in your basketball career?
Just overall securing my first basketball contract was massive for me. And just overall getting, trying to get a feel for playing again because I hadn't really played much in college. So just overall playing, it was just huge for me, really. So, it was just a joy of playing again, on to be honest, mostly. Just getting my head right again.
So you mentioned college. What, briefly touched on it just then. What was the college experience like, in the States?
Like for me, it was probably very different to most people. But typically, like freshman year, you don't play a whole lot. But you learn a lot, like not technical basketball wise, but just the way they sort of approach things. Like it's competitive in America, and you learn how to compete over there. So definitely, like all of that stuff on the court, it was just interesting for me, just because like the whole experience was interesting because like I met like guys like I've never been on a team that was that close knit together. And I don't know, it's difficult in a pro environment, to really get that. So there's that aspect of it that I absolutely loved, and like I said, the competing and the kind of nutrition that you get given and all of that stuff where you feel like a high level pro and you get all those things. But then there was the other side for me, which I didn't really love, was like I didn't really feel like I got better technically as a basketball player. Like doing things like just regular chair dribbling and stuff like that. For these individuals, they're not really getting me better. It's not working on my, you know, telling me not to do things that are contradicting things that I've learned from coaches at a high level than these college coaches, like one-handed passing and stuff like that. You're telling me not to do that. Like, it just didn't really, that side of it I didn't like. So like for me, it was like there's a mixed bag of experiences. But one I definitely wouldn't trade. Learned a lot for sure, just life experience, right?
Okay, so moving on from college, someone that's, you know, built a reputation for kind of giving young basketball players a chance is, you know, Creon, the coach of the Surrey Scorchers. Obviously, he gave you that chance, and he's recently given, you know, Cameron Hildreth that chance. How important is it that, you know, more coaches and more teams across the league, you know, do this for these, you know, these young players coming up?
Yeah, I think it's really important. Honestly, it's definitely a hill I die on personally, because I think it's important for the strength of the league that there's some sort of pathway for players to they need to be able to see that there's other places for them to go other than just America. I feel like, and while maybe we don't have the infrastructure, or like multiple clubs don't have pathways from grassroots leading into club basketball, leading into the BBL, I think one immediate way that you can do that is there's prospects, and that, you know, like good prospects. Like, why not show them that, hey, like, why don't you stay at home? This is what we can offer. The States looks good, but like, it wasn't for me, and it might not be for them for all sorts of reasons. Like, but at the moment, I feel like people are pretty blinkered into saying, if you're going to have a pro basketball career, you have to leave, and if you have to leave, you got to come back, and it's just kind of weird. Whereas in other European countries, it doesn't work like that. Like, if there's a standout Swedish kid, you bet that his hometown or his local club is asking that he comes and plays for them. But you know, why aren't clubs offering camp or talking to Cam? Like, why is it taking these events from the land of the Scorchers? Do you know what I mean? So I think it is definitely it would be good to see more clubs doing it, and it's, you know, I don't think it's far from it. I think maybe more clubs will start to do it after they see the success Cam maybe has. But I think it's definitely something that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, well, it seems like with Cam and his career, I don't know, there's been a bit of pressure put on him to kind of, you know, strive kind of British basketball forward, and he's kind of been, you know, people, it seemed, well, for me anyway, you know, outside looking in, it seems like people kind of expecting him to, he's representing British basketball, let's say, So from D1 to the BBL, what's a step up like, you know, with the way things are run, you know, practice and just the competitive, you know, the competitive element and quality.
From where, sorry? From D1 to the BBL, did you say?
Yeah, D1 and NBL.
Okay, right. Well, again, I went Barking Abbey, and we practice every day. So maybe I'm not the best person to give an accurate depiction of the NBL, because you know, I see my coach at least once a day for an individual, and then I'm with them, and then, you know, with the team in the evening. We practice 5 days a week. So maybe it's a bit different experience. Whereas like when I went to Surrey, it's we practice twice a day, but there's no like individuals per se and whatever. But, I would say. So for me, my experience is slightly different just because I'm practicing more in school. It's normal for me to practice more in school. That's why I think. But I'm the exception because I went to a basketball academy.
So in the 2018-19 season, you got the call up to GB for I think it was the Eurobasket qualifiers. What was that? What was that experience like? You know, being with these top guys.
I mean, I love representing my country, man. It's I've done it since I was like 15, so getting a call up is just massive for me anyway. And then again, I've played with some of the guys, and you worked out with them in the summer because, you know, you have Rob Gilchrist at the time and Teddy, who are from Barking, so like people I know, but and Dan. But it feels kind of different just being there. I don't know. You kind of get a little bit of imposter syndrome naturally. You know, you're not really sure whether or not, because like you said, these are like big names within not necessarily just English basketball, but within their own right, their own the leagues they play in. But yeah, no, I enjoy just being there and being able to compete with them. It's I always like playing with people that they go better than me, because that's how I measure myself. Do you know what I mean? It gives me a better representation of where I'm at rather than anything else.
Yeah. So obviously, you've played in the BBL yourself, and we've got some GB guys, over in the BBL now. For instance, Teddy, we've got Ben Motford and Ashley Hamilton. I think off the top of my head, how important is it, for these top GB guys to come over, to the BBL and play in the, Britain's league?
I think it's good in a number of ways. One way particularly might be just overall strength of the league and validity. If you look at a lot of successful, national teams, like a lot of the players, they do play in their own domestic leagues. When you see a team that doesn't and they go elsewhere, it kind of makes you question the strength of the league perhaps, if the better players aren't staying there. So one, it gives our league a bit more validity, and also I don't think it really hurts our national team overall if you've got players that are all seeing each other more often throughout the year, play on the same team. Like, it does massive for chemistry rather than just camps here and there.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, I don't think we'll get to a point where all Team GB plays in the BBL, but if you can have half, or I don't think how that affects anyone badly.
Yeah. So that same year, when you got the GB call up, is when you moved to Spain. I think it was your second year as a pro. What was that? What was that experience like? Moving abroad and you're in a different country, kind of thing.
Different, man. Different. Just because moving halfway through the year, it was like it wasn't an easy decision. It was so midway through, that Scottish team wasn't very good. Unfortunately, we were struggling to win games, and through mutual friends or whatever, the team that I went to, Forza Yeda, they had a player hurt, and I'd been speaking to this coach during the summer, so he messages me and asked me to come over. So it was difficult. I snapped at the opportunity, one, because it's hard in an environment where you're losing all the time, and also it's left gold. So it wasn't an easy decision to leave, but I felt like it was the right one for me to leave. But at the same time, like, moving teams midway through the season is difficult, and it's more difficult than I necessarily anticipated. Not just because I feel like it's a big jump in level, but you're jumping into team dynamics that you're not aware of entirely, and systems, and the coach needs to get to trust you, and there's just all sorts of things, especially as a second year pro. I don't necessarily have the benefit of 10 years resume where, like, you know what I mean? So it was a good experience. Again, another experience where I learned a whole lot, and I got the chance to measure myself, and sort of like, I hadn't played much in college. A lot of my basketball had been within the British basketball community. So being able to go over there, and even just in practice, and just like play against players at this level, again, it's a good measurement for me to go, okay, is like me playing at this level really like achievable? And I felt that it was. And so you're going to battle with them every day, and they naturally make you better. And just being able to see another level of basketball other than British basketball, which is kind of a lot of what I knew at the time. So another great experience. It wasn't the opportunity I thought it was going to be, or the one that was necessarily advertised to me, but it helped me sort of measure myself and know where I need to go. It helped set put the pinpoint on the direction I need to head in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is the third year in Spain, and you're playing for, is it CB Ponferrada? I'm not sure on the pronunciation.
So this year I'm at Ponferrada. Last season, before COVID, I was at Moron.
So how's this season going for you?
Yeah, much better than last season. Last season, we unfortunately weren't great. And the club was a little more disorganized, but the club here is a lot more organized. It's a lot more professional, and just a better team overall. Got a lot of talented guys, 1 through 11. Like, all of us can play at this level for sure. And we had our first 10-day quarantine. We were quarantined for 10 days. So we just come out of that before the game on Sunday. But we're in shape. If we keep winning, if we win 3 more games, we jump back up to 3rd. So it's we're looking in good shape to make the playoffs if we keep winning.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned the 10-day quarantine. As a pro, what is it like playing, a COVID season kind of thing, without fans and all this testing and all that?
A bit of a nightmare, man. Honestly, it's kind of like, and it's weird because it's weird saying there's not a lot to do, because obviously there's not a lot to do, but after a while, just going from your room to the gym, your room to the gym, like, it kind of takes a toll on you. Like when basketball was absolutely everything, and it's saying one thing just to just like take your mind off things, but you're only in your room, at least for us anyway. Like it's difficult. I don't really mind not having fans so much. Like fans are nice, but it's not something that necessarily bothers me too much when it comes to playing. It's just like practice. So for me, it's more so just the isolation part of it. It's difficult not being able to, get away from the environment too much, kind of just locked in, a bit of a Groundhog Day effect. But it's interesting, man. It's been a very, very interesting year. Up until last week when we quarantined, we were lucky to not really have any sort of COVID incidents. We had a couple games postponed because other teams had positives. But we had our first positive, and so we was just in the house straight for 10 days, doing workouts on Zoom and stuff, and it's been weird.
Okay, so I noticed you've got a YouTube channel. What made you want to start YouTube?
A number of reasons, man. A number of reasons. One, I think mainly is, I think the way the things are evolving, I think it's important you have to understand, I think players have to understand an element of you as a brand. And I hate using that word because it sounds very LA, but through lack of a better term, say a brand. And I think although it doesn't necessarily need to be about posting on Instagram all the time, and I think there needs to be something that you offer fans and people that necessarily admire the way you play as something to engage with, and I think that's kind of important. Just from a perspective of the player. So I thought YouTube was something that I could do. One, not only to sort of grow my skills in another area completely away from basketball, learn how to edit, learn how to design certain stuff as well as my logos and things like that. I just sort of a project I could maybe do. And then at the same time, like I meet people along the way through this journey, and they want to still, like, I might not play in their city anymore, but they still want to follow me and see how I'm getting on and stuff like that. And I thought this was a good way of me sort of just doing that. And at the same time, any sort of pros that are also in my position, maybe doing a less traditional route to wherever they're trying to get to. It's another way to sort of just know that someone else is doing the same thing, and just sort of helping them give perspective or something. So a number of reasons.
Okay, so moving back to the Jordan Classic, you played with with these top guys, and you played against them. And you played, I think it was 25 minutes when I looked. Yeah. What was that experience like? The whole camp and the game as well.
That camp was different gravy, man. First of all, the highlight of that trip easily was meeting the man himself, like getting to meet Michael Jordan and do a Q&A with him, shake his hand and stuff. That was amazing. Something I never thought would ever happen in my life. And yeah, man, it's kind of I wish I took more pictures, but it was just like a luxury sort of holiday in New York, and then sprinkled with some basketball, because a lot of the week, them taking you different places. Like we went to a restaurant, you go eat there, and you've got like fans in front of you, and then you go to Nike Town, and they just take you around New York and kind of do things like that, and then you have practice, and it all leads up to the game. While you're staying in this big, nice 5-star hotel and stuff. So it was a very, very nice holiday. And obviously you get to meet and interact with these people, that are now, like I said, all playing great levels of basketball in their own lives and stuff. And hopefully, make some of these connections and stuff. So yeah, it was an awesome week, man. One I'll never forget.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's been nice speaking to you, and yeah, I hope good luck for the rest of the season, and yeah.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Great.
All the best to you as well. Thanks for having me on, and keep up with the podcast and YouTube, man.
Thank you.
Honestly.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.